What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint.
And it's your girl Phie.
We're here with the House of X issue number 1 review, so stay tuned. Alright, so this is kind of like a new segment for us. So, to break it down, I stopped collecting single issues years ago. I only collect like omnibus and like collected editions. And Phie was like...
I saw it when Manimal had it in his polls.
Yeah, it was his pick of the week for this week. And the video got a lot of views. I'm thinking a lot of people wanted to check in to see what he thought. And he didn't really want to spoil it because we dropped those videos early Wednesday morning. So this will probably have some, I don't want to say spoilers, but we're going to talk about the plot of the book. Phie wanted to read the single issue. I said, you know what? I kind of want to pick up a couple single issues too. So we went to the local comic shop. And I kind of had this idea from my man Troy over at Zia Comics because he just did a video on like a Walking Dead issue, like a review in under a minute. And I kind of was like, you know what? Maybe we should do a review on this single issue. It's a hot issue. It's a number 1. And maybe it's something that we'll continue to do. House of X. This is issue 1 of a 6-part miniseries. It's written by Jonathan Hickman. It's been hyped up that he's going to be the savior of the X-Men. He's going to come in, take over the book, and do something that's never been done. Now, I stopped reading modern X-Men right around Avengers vs. X-Men, and I'm familiar with like the Time Displaced team and the Marvel Now stuff and the whole Magneto was right and all that. Phie has not really read any X-Men, so
this is my first time reading any X-Men.
Which is crazy because you're a huge X-Men fan.
I've watched the cartoon.
The
movies, that's what I know about X-Men is the movies and the cartoon.
So from somebody who's read Jonathan Hickman, this is very Jonathan Hickman. He even does like these pages with all these symbols on it and describing kind of
creating his own language and alphabet,
which he did all of that in the Avengers stuff too. Even like the island of Krakoa where they're living now, where the mutants are living, we'll talk about. It feels very much like the Builders and Ex Nihilo from the Jonathan Hickman Avengers run. That being said, they're doing some interesting things now with the mutants. It seems as if Professor X and Magneto are working together.
They're back to be friends again.
They're back to playing chess without having to fight afterwards. Right? And they're living on the island of Krakoa, which was introduced in Giant Size X-Men 1, which is a living island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a reoccurring thing.
Yes, that's a reoccurring thing. So Krakoa was a bad guy, the first like bad guy of Giant Size X-Men 1, and then that was
a person first?
No, it's just a living island, and it was like the thing they had to face or whatever in that book. And Krakoa also became part of Wolverine and the X-Men, and that's where Jean Grey's School of Higher Learning was located and things like that.
I gotta say though, I know it's like not on what you were just talking about. It's my go-to thing, but like the one thing that was like kind of just rubbed me the wrong way was how they had Jean Grey dressed. Like everything's modern, and then her outfit seems like really retro. For some reason,
Jean Grey is not even wearing the Marvel Girl uniform. It even identifies her as Marvel Girl for whatever reason. So I'm not sure why that's happening. So I didn't read the previous X-Men run. I'm not sure if this is the Time Displaced Jean Grey from the 60s or what.
Maybe that would make sense.
Yeah, maybe you guys can help us out in the comments there.
Also, because of the white Magneto. Because of the statue. I was like, this is the book. That is him.
Yeah, which I was excited for, too, because I'm like, we have the white Magneto statue from XM, and now we get to see him, like, in action, picking up on the first issue. I did like that, too. And the details are, like, the same exact, like, to the belt buckle and everything.
Oh, yeah, even, like, the, everything, yeah.
Professor X and Magneto, they kind of have done a power play with the humans. Professor X has grown these... what he's told the humans, 3 flowers from Krakoa that can do incredible things. One of them can add 5 years to humans' lifespan. The other one can cure any diseases of the mind.
And then the third one is an antibiotic, like a superhuman antibiotic that can like cure lots of things. I think they're right here.
Yeah, and so look, this is what I'm talking about. This is Jonathan Hickman's MO, to give you a periodic table to explain what he's writing here. So what they're doing is they're using it as leverage to say, hey, we'll give you these flowers, which only really benefit humans anyway, but we want to be recognized as a sovereign nation, and we want to have amnesty against any wrongdoing from mutants. So it's really like a big political power play that they're pulling here.
It's not, there's like no ill will in it. It's like we just don't want to be involved in all of your fighting.
So yeah, and so what's interesting, they don't talk about it, but they show us in this table that there's also, well, I guess they show it a little bit. There's 3 flowers for mutants. One that creates gateways, which is basically a biological portal that can be used to travel. A habitat, which is basically what we see in the beginning, and it looks like they're growing mutants, like Matrix style, in little catacombs or whatever. And then no place, which is they can create a habitat that's not part of Krakoa's shared consciousness, because the habitats that I just mentioned, they are. Like, you create a habitat, it's a hive mind kind of thing. So we have that going on. We don't know what Professor X is up to with the growth of these mutants, but I think it has something to do with the realization that in 20 years, mutants are going to be the dominant species on the planet. They would have already been if it wasn't for House of M and the whole no more mutants thing from Scarlet Witch. That's probably something that you didn't really catch reading this, because they mention that when they're in that kind of meeting or whatever.
Well, there's another page that's like this one that shows the made-up language on it that describes, which this page got me really excited because they were talking about, like, what is it, Omega level mutants. Omega level mutants, which is, it's one specific trait, like, of their power that is, like, you can't measure it.
Let me take it over.
Okay.
What's interesting about this is that when Jonathan Hickman took over, he specifically said there's not going to be any mentions of Omega level mutants. Like, he didn't like the idea of that. But in this book, there's a table of contents that explain what Omega mutants are, and he broke it down like an Omega level mutant. Some mutants have multiple powers. It only has to be one power that cannot be topped. Magneto is Omega level mutant because his magnetism power is unmatched. He said,
and you can't measure it. It's infinite.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it says it in there.
And Jean Grey, she's telekinetic and telekinesis, but only one of them is where her power is so strong that it can't be matched by anyone else, and she's Omega level.
It's her it's her telekinesis. It's her brain, not
telepathy.
Telepathy, not her telepathy. Moving things with her mind.
So even here they show Krakoa like it has eyes.
But I didn't get to say they list a whole bunch of mutants on that page, and
Storm,
one of them,
Iceman,
is Legion.
Legion's on there.
He's on there.
Because
I hope I see him.
His power, he was like a reality-changing power. Also, my boy Quentin Quire was on that list, and Manimal's boy Multiple Man was like the first one on that list.
But go to the list.
Because when it comes to their powers, they're the top dog. Yeah, Jean Grey's telepathy, Legion's power manifestation, because he has all those different mutant-like personalities in his mind that he could tap into all their powers.
Mm-hmm. That's another book.
Franklin Richards is now, his name is Powerhouse. That's a new name for me. Reality manipulation.
I don't understand.
So his alliance is with humans because he's the Fantastic Four. He's part of the Future Foundation, but he's a mutant. That's why Cyclops says to Reed Richards, like, hey, listen, we got a spot for Franklin Richards whenever he wants to have a family or whatever.
Holy moly.
Because
he did say that.
Because they flex. There's a scene where Sabretooth, Mystique, and Toad are stealing some information. I don't know if they're stealing from S.H.I.E.L.D. or they're stealing information from someone. Fantastic Four catches them, but Cyclops comes out of a gateway like, look, come on, bro. You got no jurisdiction here. And it's kind of a little bit of standoff. And they actually don't get Sabretooth. The Fantastic Four does keep Sabretooth, right?
So we're spoiling? We're doing spoilers?
I mean, it's not a big plot point, you know?
But I really liked, too, so, like, the beginning of the story... Like, I guess Professor X sent out a telepathic message to all the humans and was like, we've got terms, you have to say yes. Like,
it's not a negotiation.
Right. And so all of, like, these ambassadors from, like, all these different countries come together to go on, like, a tour. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, I guess, I don't know who this character was. They tour Krakoa. They go to all the, like, they end up in Jerusalem as the last spot, and then they're, like, I guess... concluding
like the
tour.
Female telepath that's with them.
Magneto says, what have we learned? And like I guess that one of the ambassadors starts to talk and he's like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my chick. What have we learned? And she like goes into it, it's like, this was not really a tour like for you. Like we knew when you guys got here you weren't on board with this.
Right.
That was
they were trying to see where their heads were at.
Yeah, I was.
I don't know if
I think
it's I don't know if it's Emma Frost or one of the Cuckoos. Like it's a telepath that rolls with Magneto. But see, even Hickman, like he puts a map of Krakoa and where everybody lives on there.
Oh, I looked at all of it. I was like, all right, what is
too.
all this? I need to make sure I know what everything is.
What's also dope about this comic is that they have this ad for Stan's Soapbox, and this is like an excerpt.
And yeah, an excerpt. Yeah.
From 1968, and it's funny, like Stan Lee is defending the medium of comic books to people who are considering it not a true form of entertainment.
I feel like it's still applicable to today.
Yeah. Oh, you read comics? We have people comment on our channel, oh, comics? And like their avatar is Venom. Like,
it's
really?
Funny because you probably read more than they do on a regular basis. They probably don't read in any regular books anyway.
What about this whole thing where they had what's it called? Not a furnace. The forge. So they visit
the forge.
They visit this forge, kind of like Infinity War style, but it's a Sentinel head with like solar panels.
Oh, I love it.
Why did they go there? See, that was something I didn't really catch. Like, why did they?
I mean, I'll probably thumb through it again because I was just so anxious to read it. I probably.
But bottom line, House of X 1 is establishing the mutants. They want to be a sovereign nation. They want to have amnesty for things that mutants are doing, and they want to do their own thing. Now, there's things we don't know. Why is Professor X growing these mutants? Why does he seem like we're not getting a lot of page time with Professor X? Like he's up to something. He's got a Cerebro type Maker type helmet on.
Right, but why is he? Maybe this is also like because I haven't read like Professor X to me has always been, paralyzed. He's not walking around unless he's in that place with the dinosaurs.
Unless it's a Savage Land, yeah, maybe that's a good point. Maybe Krakoa has the same properties as a Savage Land.
And he seems
a
lot younger.
Something seems off with Professor X, for sure. And why is he? He's always been will live together, but now he's rolling with Magneto, and he seems to be separating mutants from humans as well. Definitely interested to read House of X and the other miniseries Powers of X, 2 series that are one. So I'm interested to see where this goes, if this ends up branching into a new, like, Uncanny X-Men title or X-Men title, because it's 2 miniseries that supposedly the aftermath of this book has consequences that will never go back, supposedly. We got 2 copies because we're probably going to throw one in one of the gem crates.
That's one in the gem crate this month. And they gave us posters that came with it. Should I take them out?
Yeah, shout out to Lost Dog Comics. We went and checked them out today out here in El Paso, Texas. Took care of us, so...
Well, let's do this one first. Oh, so this one just looks like the cover.
This is for Powers of X.
I like that.
Bam.
I like that. But this one just looks like the cover. So this is a separate, completely individual
Yeah, there's 2
story?
6-issue miniseries. No, this is going to tie together. These are going to definitely tie together. That's why they give us that reading order in the back. All right, y'all. So let us know what you guys think about House of X in the comments below. Are you guys excited for the rest of the series and for Powers of X? Drop us a like on the way out. And what do you think about this segment? Should we highlight like hot issues like this? Like we wouldn't do this for every issue that comes out, but something like this or something like maybe, The Walking Dead 193 or whatever, which we're not going to do because it's already old news. But you know what I'm saying. And make sure to subscribe to the channel, man. We are at the road to 30K. As of this video, we're 300 subscribers away. And we're going to give away a CGC 9.8 first appearance of a Marvel villain. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to let your brains wander. Stay minty fresh. Peace.